cutting to the chase here, habit number 1. And I want to say that these habits get progressively more important. So when we get to the 7th habit, that will be the most important. But starting with habit number 1 is have a nutritious diet. Your brain uses about 20 to 25% of all the nutrients that you consume. And it does mean that if you use more brain power, you actually are burning a few more calories. Probably not enough to significantly reduce your weight, by the way. But it is burning calories, you know. The calories are being burned to create electricity that powers the brain. And it does use a lot of the nutrients that we eat. So what we eat impacts our brain. There's no doubt about that. And if we haven't eaten well, then we can't really function well neurologically. And you know, kind of an extreme example of that is people with anorexia. We've all seen those tragic photographs of usually women who have anorexia, and they are totally skin and bone. By the way, anorexia is at least 30% of the time fatal. At least 30% of the time, people who are diagnosed with anorexia will die, unfortunately. And many of these poor people, when they look at themselves in the mirror, they think they're fat, and they're starving, literally starving to death, because their brain imaging, their ability to perceive reality is greatly impacted by their lack of food and nutrition. And that's an extreme example. There was a recent study conducted at the Harvard Medical School. Over 13,000 women were involved in this. They were all over age 70. And they found a correlation clearly between those that had more mental agility and those that were eating healthy and including particularly vegetables in their diet. Ideally, now I'm not a nutritionist, however, ideally we want to reduce calories per day for women to 2,400 or less, and for guys to about 2,600 or less per day. In general, eat colorful fruits and vegetables, natural vitamins where possible. By the way, natural means if you can get it in the vitamins in the food source versus a supplement, that's better. Now if you can't get it in the food source, take supplements. But the more the food source is in its original form, the better. For example, orange juice comes from Florida. Of course I'm going to use an example of oranges. Actually I live in Orange County, Florida. But orange juice is healthy for you, but an orange is actually a little healthier. And think of it like orange juice is actually a processed orange. It's still good for you, but you're better off actually eating an orange versus taking orange juice. Omega-3 fatty acids are proving to be very wonderful for the brain. One of the reasons I first got interested in neuroscience is because I struggle with dyslexia. And you may see that in some of my spelling up here, by the way. If you do see a spelling mistake, just put your hand up. Like I say, I do struggle with dyslexia. They've now discovered that omega-3 fatty acids are helpful for people with dyslexia. I mean, who would have thought that a couple of years ago, even 10 years ago, that omega-3 fatty acids would help dyslexia? Because it tends to help the brain overall. We're not exactly sure why it helps dyslexia, but the research indicates that it does. And it's not just for people who have dyslexia. It's a very good source of food for the brain.